angels, and welcome back to another episode of the Money Mindset Mansion podcast. Today, it is the first day in my new office setup. We have the camera, we have the mic, we have the new office. I am so excited. This is a very long time coming. This year, I've been working with a lot of brand developers, marketing specialists, and everyone's like, Marley Rose Harris, you must be recording your podcast on video. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And I wanted to, but I feel like my house setup wasn't really built for a podcast studio, and then I couldn't really find the aesthetic in Cape Town that I wanted. I did try, but I had this come to Jesus moment where I have this section in my house where it's in between two floors. So I have like the bottom floor of a house and then someone else has the top floor. And in between the stairs to go from the top and the bottom, there's this landing. It is technically my apartment, but we never use it. We never go up here. Like, it's just a wasted space. And I was like, wait, this could be good. And I had a whole vision. So this is my first video here. It's coming together. It's still very bare. And I really hope the audio is going to be okay. But we are filming. We have a new camera. We have a new boom. We have everything is coming together. And I'm so excited. So I really hope you guys like the video version. I hope this provides value. And I'm just really excited about it. I feel like things are really coming together. And the funniest thing though is it's December 5th as I'm recording this. But then literally next Monday, not like the Monday, the soonest coming Monday, like the Monday after, I leave to go to my boyfriend's beach house for like a month. So I think I'm going to bring my camera and film from there. I think it would be really fun. And hopefully, fingers crossed, get him on the podcast again. I really want him to come back on the podcast. Let's see. Okay, so for today's podcast episode, I'm so excited to dive in. So I've been getting so many questions recently about this quote unquote glow up. I don't even like to use the word glow up. I want to say transformation that has occurred over the past 5 years. I posted on Instagram last week about before and after and my skin, just my body transformation. And I was getting a lot of questions in my DMs of how did you do this? What were your biggest tips here? And I have so much to share. And I actually really love this topic. I love talking about health and wellness. I love talking about fitness. It's another passion of mine. So the fact that you guys asked me these questions, I was like, yes, I want to talk about this so badly. So today we are going to talk about how I cleared my skin and how I lost 20 pounds. Now, I want to do a caveat. I am not at the point of my life where I look in the mirror and I think perfection about myself. I don't want to ever pretend that I never have negative thoughts. I don't want to ever pretend that I don't still beat myself up and have human moments of feeling insecure or feeling less than or comparing myself. I do. Okay, I do. So I'm not 100% healed in this. However, if I look back at that version of me 5 years ago and I look at her and I think of where I am now in terms of how I speak to myself and how I treat my body and how I treat my mind, it is a night and day difference. Okay, so I do have a lot to share on that. But I don't want by any means for you guys to listen to this and think that I am perfect, that I never feel insecure or, talk down on myself. I would say 95% of the time I feel good, but there is still those moments that I don't. So I just want to preface with that. This is not coming from a high horse. This is coming from, hey, I know how it feels, and this is what I learned along the way, and I still have things to learn. Okay, so I'm so excited. First, I want to talk about how I cleared my skin. And again, I wouldn't say my skin is 100% cleared porcelain glass skin. But if you do look at photos of me from me 5 years ago to today, it is, again, a night and day difference. So I want to talk on that. Okay, so I struggled with acne, honestly, for as long as I can remember. Remember in grade 7, starting to notice that my skin was uneven, and I felt like I was the only one. All my other friends, everyone in my family seemed to have perfect skin, and I was the only one really struggling with acne. Now, that probably wasn't true. I'm sure other people were, but it was just so traumatizing to me that I felt like I was the only one. And I come from a family where my mom is very holistic. It's actually like where I get my passion for health from. And going on Accutane or some sort of pharmaceutical really wasn't an option. And I was okay with that. However, I did go on birth control at one point, but that made me feel crazy, so I went off of it quite quickly. So when I started to get acne, I even remember my dad one time being like, oh, I actually didn't even know it was bad. And then my dad gave me something like an acne skin thing. And I was like, oh, wait, what's going on here? And then honestly, it started from grade 7. So what is that? That's like 2007 to, I want to say 2021, 22, that I really struggled with acne. So that is a big portion of my life. And I want to say that I did try everything. But interestingly enough, I feel like grade 7 is also when you start to like, think about boys. You start to compare yourself. You start to want to, like, you're not just like a kid anymore necessarily. You feel like, you start dating and etc. So interestingly, if I could like know what I know now, I feel like that's when I started beating myself up. And that's when I started feeling less than and insecure. And it manifested as acne. I do feel like getting acne was a part of my soul plan because it taught me to love myself from the inside out instead of the outside in. So I feel like that is like why, of like part of my soul lesson, I did get it. But what a journey. And I want to talk about like pretty much in hindsight, like what it came down to. That was a big thing. Like had I known what I know now, I would hypothesize that if I started treating myself better and started thinking better thoughts and speaking better language to myself, I think I would have cleared my acne way earlier. But again, who knows? But like knowing what I know now, the way I spoke to myself and treated myself was a physical representation of beating myself up on the outside. And to me, acne shows like out of alignment, like where your body is out of alignment. Okay, so because I was so out of alignment in pretty much every area of my life, it manifested as acne. And when I started to get in alignment in areas of my life, it started to clear. Okay, so that's more of like a metaphysical, spiritual like analogy of how I got the acne. But again, I want to also like debrief like what I did, because it's easy to say that. And if I was listening to this and had acne, I'd be like, okay, that's great, girl, but like give me the tools, give me what works. Okay, so again, I feel like everyone who struggles with acne always says like, I tried everything. And I feel like I honestly did. I went to doctors all over Canada, not all over Canada, like all over Ontario, naturopaths, Chinese medicine, energy healers, like the randomest, craziest people. I tried herb cleanses. I tried literally, my mom like shipped in things from Africa, like an African soap. Like we tried everything. And nothing would make this freaking acne budge. The only time it would clear is when I left the country. And if I would go on like a 2-week vacation, my skin would clear. I went to Greece one summer for a month, my skin cleared. It was like when I was in sunshine, when I was stress-free, when I wasn't home, my skin cleared. Okay. So that was actually, if I think about it now, like one of the motivations of honestly why I wanted to leave Canada. Because I was like, I am my happiest, best, healthiest self when I am not in this freaking country. So that was a big thing for me. And I know I do talk to a lot of people that have acne that talk about that. But it came down to me for like four things. Number one is I got my hormones checked. And when I had my hormones checked, my testosterone was like through the roof. It was, I think, double what it should have been. And I wasn't producing progesterone. And when I cleared that and healed that, I worked with a naturopathic doctor. Dramatic change, not only in my skin, but like mental well-being. Because like what I know now, that means my cortisol was through the roof and I was so dysregulated. So when we calmed that and cleared that, it really helped me clear my skin. Number two, and I know this isn't available for everyone, but I did, when I moved countries, when I left Canada and I moved to Australia and I lived in Bali, I noticed a significant improvement in my skin. It did not happen overnight, but you can night and day see the difference in my skin and in my body when I left a place that was out of alignment for me. Again, I'm not saying that you have to leave a country, but I was living somewhere that was out of alignment. So I got myself into alignment, and that can look different in many areas of life. I also quit working serving. I quit 2 jobs. I started my own business. I started living in my purpose. Like, I got into physical, energetic alignment. And when I did that, I noticed that my skin stopped flaring. And it stopped being this physical representation of danger, alert, there is a threat. Because I no longer was in a physical stress 24/7. And I know that sounds like a little bit dramatic, but when I was living in Canada, especially when my dad passed away that year, I was in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, your nervous system is in fight or flight at all times. So there was no opportunity for my body to rest, repair, rejuvenate, and getting to a place when I moved to Australia and Bali where things felt calmer, more peaceful. I could go to the beach every day. I was living life on my own terms. My body, I think, slowly switched into rest and digest. And that's, again, a physical representation of how my body changed. I no longer felt in fear. I no longer was in danger. And my body could then send energy. Okay, let's heal this. Let's heal this. Let's heal whatever is causing this, irritation in my body, because I do believe that physical symptoms are just a physical manifestation of what's going on inside. And so if I look at it that way and I really pinpoint what was going on then and where my body was and skin was versus now, I can graph chart it on a freaking PDF file of what was going on then, how I was feeling, how my body and skin looked versus how I feel now, what's going on internally, and how my skin and body feel. It is night and day. It is night and day. So I think at the end of the day, that if you're doing all the right workouts, if you're eating all the right things, if you feel like you're doing everything that everyone else is doing, but you're not addressing the inside, this is an inside job. I really believe it's an inside job in terms of no meal plan, no diet, no strict regimen is going to work if you are not addressing the inside. Okay, so number 3 is I did get a food intolerance test. And all these foods that were inflaming me, I'm actually convinced that it wasn't really weight that I was holding on to. It was actually more like inflammation that I was holding on to. And that was causing me to have all this digestive discomfort. And you would see it in my face and in my body. I'm super inflamed. And I know that now because when I eat certain things or do certain activities, I know I didn't gain weight from the day before. My body's just inflamed. So now I'm really auditing what makes me feel inflamed. And when I did that food intolerance test and I stopped eating, for me, it was gluten, dairy, coffee, and alcohol really inflamed me, and inflammation causes acne. So when I cleared those things, and again, don't take this as your diet routine because it's going to be different for every single person. When I cleared those things, my skin honestly cleared. It was magical. And I notice now that if I dive a little bit too deep into those things, I will notice my skin flare up. So I'm like, okay, whoop, 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 back. So I just have to be very cautious of those things now because those cause my skin and honestly my digestion to flare. So without inflammatory foods and things, your body has no reason to rebel. And then the final thing is, and I've touched on this entire time, but it's changing the way I speak to myself. I used to look in the mirror and be like, you are the ugliest person in the whole entire world. I hate you. I hate the skin. I hate my skin. I was just so focused on how much I hated my skin, how ugly it made me feel, how disgusting it made me feel. I spoke to myself so poorly. I didn't know what I know now. I didn't know that just because I wasn't saying it out loud or just because I wasn't telling other people didn't mean it didn't matter. Okay, but what I know now is the words that you speak to yourself go into your electromagnetic field. Your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions create your EMF field. And people, situations, circumstances mirror that EMF field. And so everything that I was speaking to myself every day, it was then manifesting more healers that couldn't find the the solution. It would mirror to people to me that would make me feel insecure about my skin because I was so insecure about my skin. It just kept me in this negative loop of, I can't do the math, but like, what is that? 7, 4, 24, 32, like literally almost 19 years. No, that's impossible. No, like, I don't know, 10 years of having acne. And by the way, I noticed that when I'm filming, I'm chilling right now. I'm just like, bop, 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 bop. Chatty Cathy. So I feel like the style of my podcast might change slightly. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. I'm just like sitting here chatting with my besties. You're a Sony camera right now, but you're my besties. So anyways, looping back. So when I started to change and when I started to understand the law of attraction, I started to understand affirmations, I started to understand mindset, I started to understand truly subconscious reprogramming. And I was like, wait, if I am so hyper focused on something, I started to understand laws of the universe, law of focus. If I'm so focused on my skin and how much I hate this acne, it's going to continue to manifest this acne. And so when I started making it a non-issue, when I started when I was cleansing my skin, I would, say how much I love my skin. When I was looking in the mirror, I would, again, this was not easy. This didn't happen overnight, but over time, stop speaking to myself in such a poor way. When I started speaking to myself with love and I would affirm my skin is getting clear, I would affirm, and I would use hypnosis and different tools like this to clear my skin. It is dramatic. And even recently, it was in March, I was in a course, I was creating a course called Millionaire Mentor, and I was going through my limiting belief clearing process, and I was feeling insecure about my skin at this moment. And it's crazy because although my skin has come so far, it's such a trigger for me that if I have like a little flare up or something, I immediately go back to that girl that was like 5 years ago that had like cystic acne over her whole body. And I was like, okay, wait, I've never done like a clear the fear on why I have acne. And so I did a clear the fear, which is my limiting belief clearing method for subconscious reprogramming. It's in the Higher Self app. And I did it on why I have acne. And I cleared the fear and I cleared the hidden advantage of why I do have acne. Again, just like a quick side, the only reason why you hold on to something is because your brain thinks there's some sort of hidden advantage, hidden benefit to holding it. And when you can debunk that in your brain, then your brain will automatically release the limiting belief that you're holding on to. So I had this limiting belief and this hidden advantage that the reason why I had acne is because it made me relatable, and without it, I wouldn't be relatable. And so obviously that's not true. So I cleared that. And then within that month, or 24 hours, I got a message from my facialist who I hadn't heard from in months, and saying that she was leaving the practice, but there's one other person that's available. He's usually booked out for like 6 months, but he actually has one slot, like you can come in. And I was like, sorry, what? And then I went on this like 4-month journey, if you've been following on Instagram, and we did all these like deep scar clearing skin. And then now I'm on with this new facialist and my skin has never been better. And the craziest thing happened the other day. So I went with her for a intake, like consultation. I was like, I'm really happy with where my skin is at. I just now want to glow. I want it to be clear. I want it to glow. I want to look in the mirror and feel glowy and healthy. And she's like, okay, I got you. And I was like, I just want one day to get a compliment on my skin. Like, I've never had a compliment on my skin. I've struggled my whole life with acne. If I just get a compliment on my skin, that will just like make my whole day, because that will prove that I have done the healing. Like, if I get a compliment on something that I've been so insecure about my whole life, like that to me is like, okay, like you did it. Then the next week I have a facial with her on like, let's say a Thursday. Okay, it's a little red, wake up Friday, great, go for a date night with my boyfriend on Friday night. Saturday morning, wake up and I'm laying in bed, I have no makeup on, and he just rolls over and he looks at me, he's like, wow, babe, your skin looks so beautiful. And I was like, what? Like, my whole life, I was like, oh my gosh, it happened. So I guess tip number 5 here is clearing the hidden advantage to having acne. So if anyone is listening and is struggling with some sort of skin situation, or honestly any health thing, go into the Higher Self app and go into the Explore section and do Clear the Fear. It's the first category. And then just search for the one called Clear Any Fear. You can also find it in the search bar. And what you're going to do is in the top, when you click into it, on the top right-hand corner, there's a little journal icon. You're going to click that, do the journaling prompts, and then do the clearing. If you're having any sort of because I get this feedback, but if you have any trouble getting back to the exact moment, just make sure you're in a really regulated place before you do any clearing. Do deep breathing, some sort of meditation, calm your body before you go into it, and that will work like a charm and clear your fear of why you have acne. Clear the hidden advantage to having acne. Changed my life. Again, I'm not like coming to you being like, I have perfect skin, I don't have any imperfections. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But I now, okay, this is actually insane. I said this to my friend the other day. I was like, I actually feel more beautiful without makeup than I do with makeup. And I have never, ever, 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 ever felt that. So I just share that because I know the struggle of having acne. It's seriously caused so much trauma in my life. I've had to do so many clearings on the trauma of having acne. So I get you. I get wobbles on it. So these are my biggest tips on how I cleared my skin. Okay. And if you guys have any other tips or this is helpful, I love you so much. And anyone out there struggling, I love you, I love you, I love you. And just, it's going to be okay. And you will get to the other side. And I promise myself, like, once I get on the other side of this, I will share with the world, because this is, for me, it was honestly one of the most traumatic things I went through, especially as a girl in this society who just wants to fit in and feel loved and attractive. Like, it was a very big soul lesson for me. Whew. Okay, let's go on to how I lost 20 pounds and my struggle with body dysmorphia and honestly my body. Okay, so again, I know I'm not alone when I say, being a girl in Western society, constantly being fed, having to look a certain way, be a certain way. If you don't look like this, you're not attractive, blah, blah, blah. The amount of pressure that goes onto women to look a certain way, that's one thing. Second thing, so when I never really, luckily, thankfully, thank God, growing up, this is just my journey. I didn't really struggle with my body per se. It was more like I was focused on my skin. But when I went to university, I was very fortunate growing up that my parents were both chefs. I don't know if you guys know that, but my parents were chefs. So I was very spoiled back home, and my mom was super healthy. So luckily, and I'm so grateful that growing up, I ate very clean, very healthy, and it was amazing. I am such a foodie, and that was the best. So when I went to university, I had literally no education around nutrition and what is good for my body. I had no idea about like gluten causes inflammation or dairy or anything. Okay. So I was going in like a baby. I didn't even know how to cook an egg because my parents cooked for me. So like I didn't know how to cook. So anyways, went to university, ate everything, binge drank everything, went out 5 nights a week. And, within September to coming home to Thanksgiving, I literally gained 20 pounds. And I remember saying, everyone's like, oh, freshman 15. And I was like, that's not going to happen to me. Yep, it did. And honestly worse. So that happened. And then it was kind of a journey of going through that. I would say like in third year or second year, I had a bit of a rock bottom moment with that. And then the pendulum swung. And then I went like hyper fixated on working out, counting my calories, doing kale at Zenus, eating nothing, and then losing a ton of weight and getting really like acknowledged for that. But to be honest, it was a complete, like, I wouldn't go as far as saying an eating disorder, but it was definitely disordered eating. And then it was like I swung that way, and I would say I had a really bad body dysmorphia, thinking I was like super overweight when I was literally a stick. And then swung that way, and then I lost my dad. And then the pendulum swung the other way. And then one of my coping mechanism was binge eating, and it was a way for me, I think, to like have some sort of control. So I really struggled with binge eating for months and months and months and months and months. And then I went to Bali in Australia, and I was numbing with alcohol, and so pendulum swung the other way, gained a bunch of weight back. And honestly, I will say, like, I think a lot of it was inflammation. I was super, I just went through one of the most traumatic things in my life. My body was in fight or flight. I had no coping or regulation tools. I was very unhappy. And those are the photos of me 5 years ago. So to paint a picture, my dad just passed away. I was completely dysregulated. I just moved across the world. I knew one person, and I was running from everything and everyone. So it showed on my body, and I was super inflamed, and then the pendulum swung back. And this is when I started to learn about law of attraction, mindset. I started to just want to be healthy, and I wanted to feel good in my body. I was just done. I was done. I would say that's when I hit my like body rock bottom. Okay. And I was like, I want to get back to feeling really good, really healthy. And the focus wasn't weight loss. It was just health. Okay. So again, I have tips on this, and there's a few key things that happen. And I'm not going to say like, yes, I lost 20 pounds, but it's so much more than weight loss, so much more. It was like my body got back to homeostasis, the state that it feels good in, it feels great in, and every body is different. Every body's homeostasis is completely different. And so this is how I got my body back into body homeostasis. Number one, most important thing is when I was in university, I was trying every diet, I was trying every workout routine. I was trying everything that everyone else told me to do. Okay. And even if it didn't feel good, even if I was tired, even if I noticed I was so disconnected from my body that I did it anyways. Even though going to F45 every morning at 5 a.m. felt like shit, I did it anyways. Even though I noticed when I ate certain things, it bloated me, I did it anyways because it's supposed to be healthy, you know? So I just completely was so disconnected from my body, and I wasn't listening to myself. And then that showed. So I would say the biggest thing that changed my life, changed my body, changed everything is I just started listening to my body. Okay. And I remember thinking like, oh, I can never intuitively eat, because if I just intuitively eat, then I'll eat everything in the fridge. I'll go out of control. I have to have a strict eating routine, because if I don't, then I'll be out of control. Everything, it was so much like a trauma response of not being in control. But finally, little by little, I just started letting go, and I started eating and exercising intuitively. And that changed everything. Turns out I didn't eat everything in the fridge. Actually, I started eating just what my body needed and craved. And my body loved that. And so what this looks like now is like every day I'm waking up and I'm like, okay, what do I want to eat today? I'm not doing any sort of meal plan. I'm not on any diet at all, nothing. If I feel like chicken one day, I'll eat chicken. If I feel like steak one day, I'll eat steak. If I feel like veggies one day, I'll eat veggies. And when you start nourishing your body from the inside out, when you start getting quality sleep, you no longer crave sugar. You no longer crave those things that sugar is also a big inflammatory for me. You no longer crave those things that makes your body rebel. Okay. It's actually the best. It has been the best thing for me. So when I started eating intuitively and working out intuitively, I would eat things and then notice how I felt. And I would tune in. Okay, what do I crave today? What is my body needing? Because your body is freaking smart. It will crave certain foods that have certain minerals. I can notice if I'm craving carbs over fats, over proteins. Like once you start to release this like being told what to do and following a specific routine, it's magical what your body will tell you what it needs. And I started doing that with my exercises as well. I have no strict workout routine at all. Every Tuesday I play tennis, and that's the most strict that I get. If I had it my way, I would actually just play play tennis on whatever day I have that I feel most energized. But obviously, like my poor tennis coach, he would hate that. Besides that, I'm waking up every day and I have like a list of things I love to do. So like I love to do hot yoga. I love Pilates. I love my long walks. I love cycling. I love surfing. I love just getting outside in nature, like a pickleball. I love movement. So instead of prioritizing exercise, before I would literally exercise for 45 minutes, do an insane HIIT workout, and then I would be sitting all day. So that did not help my body at all. Now I prioritize moving every day. As much as I can, I try to get 10,000 steps a day. Just moving my body has been the best thing for my mental well-being, my digestion, everything. Also, big thing is I used to have a freaking Apple Watch, and I refuse. I refuse to have an Apple Watch. I refuse to have an Oura Ring. I don't want to outsource my intuition, my own inner knowing of whether I'm tired, whether I need sleep, whether, it's like our body knows. Our body is way smarter than that freaking Oura Ring or the Apple Watch. And sometimes I would notice when I had the Apple Watch, I would go to the gym and I would overexert myself because I was like, I'm so competitive. So I'm like, oh my God, I've only worked out for 46 minutes. I have to get to 60. Even though my body was like, we're done, I would go past my exertion levels. So for me, that didn't work. And what has worked best for me is truly tuning in to what feels good for me. So today, I don't know what my workout routine is going to be, or I don't even, like my movement routine. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, whatever lights me up to do. This is a very feminine approach. I basically swung the pendulum of doing everything with my health the masculine way to doing everything with my health in the very feminine way. And that has been the best thing for me. Other tips. I went on like an entire rampage there. And then main tip I'm just like referring to my notes here, is I stopped feeling like I had to fix myself. Again, this is going to go back to what I talked about in the acne section, which is I stopped focusing on how much I hated certain parts of my body, or how much I had to fix something, or how much I wanted to lose weight, or how my stomach looked, or whatever. Like I would hyper fixate on those things. I would like constantly look in the mirror and be like, oh my gosh, I hate the way I look, And then I realized the more I speak about that, the more I focus on that focus, the more I focus on that, the more I get that. And so I really just started applying law of attraction, laws of the universe, manifestation tools to healing the relationship to my body. And I started to focus on parts of my body that I did enjoy. And again, this wasn't like an easy 180, rule. Like sometimes I'd look at myself and I'd be like, oh, you look beautiful today. And they're like, no, you don't, bitch. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you cannot trick your subconscious mind. But slowly over time and using subconscious reprogramming, I started to recreate those new neural pathways. So instead of focusing on what I didn't like, I started focusing on what I did like. And I use tools like what is in the Higher Self app, nightly hypnosis, clearing my fears to why I'm holding on to weight, or what, because weight is a reflection of you beating yourself up. If you're holding on to anything in your body, it is a reflection of you beating yourself up. And I do believe that every physical symptom has emotional root cause. So when you clear the emotional root cause, which I would do using subconscious reprogramming, then like my body would just naturally, without effort, let go of the inflammation and whatever weight I was holding on to. And I know it sounds so easy. It's like, but didn't you like go on this big diet and cut out all this stuff? And I was like, no, I didn't. I actually did quite the opposite. And I really just got deeply connected to me, to my soul essence, to my health blueprint, and just followed that. And you will be shocked that you have all the answers within inside of you. You know what feels good. You know what doesn't feel good. And when you start listening to that, your body rewards you for that and like loves you for that. And another thing I want to say is that I just got really obsessed with feeling good. Melissa Wood Health, which is one of my favorite Pilates platforms, she says it feels so good to feel so good. And I'm like, yeah, I spent so long of my life feeling so bad, feeling so low, feeling so depressed, feeling so anxious, beating myself up so much. And when I started to change and notice my thoughts changing and my behavior changing and my life changing, and now feeling positive and happy most of the time, I'm so obsessed with that. And so that is my number one priority. And I do have this written down, and this is going to sound a little bit weird, but like I am my number one priority. That's what I think at the end of the day, that was also one of the biggest shifts, is that I am my number one priority over my business, over my relationship, over my career, over everything. I am my number one priority. And I want people around me, I want my partner, I want my friends, I want everyone else to make themselves their number one priority as well. Because at the end of the day, when the airplane is going down, do they say put oxygen mask on someone else first or on yourself first? Always you. And again, using laws of the universe and manifestation, I learned that if I am pouring into everyone else, I'm going to be an empty cup. That's going to make me a worse off partner, worse off daughter, friend, coach, mentor, business owner. If my cup is full, then I can pour into everyone else. Without fail, no matter what is going on, I am my number one priority. Like me and my boyfriend will be in a new place. Everyone's like, I need to meditate. Like if I haven't meditated in the day, that's my number one priority. Even if we just get somewhere, it's so exciting and like we want to do it. Like no, number one priority is me always. You know that saying like pay yourself first. And so something I want to share here is that if you're not putting yourself first, that could be reflecting in your body, in your skin, in your just the way you feel. And for everyone, how you prioritize yourself is going to look different. For me, it's a morning routine, it's daily movement, it's doing what I love, it's eating what I love, it's giving myself what I want every single day. And again, I think just that swing of the pendulum of, again, instead of punishing myself for everything and beating myself up for everything, now becoming my own best friend and putting myself first no matter what has been the most life-changing thing for me and for my body, for my health, for my honestly well-being. So anyone listening to this, and if you're still here, I freaking love you. This is a longer episode that I planned. Put yourself first. I know it's hard, and I know we're not taught to do that. We are taught to put everyone else before us. But when you start putting yourself first and you start prioritizing you build confidence, you build self-trust, you build self-love, you build self-worth. It's going to fundamentally change every area of your life, and you're going to start to notice that people are going to reflect that in you. They are going to start putting you first. They are going to pay you first. They are going to think about you first. And I notice it's very interesting, like, because I do that, I notice that happens in my friendships, in my partnerships, in my business, how people do put me first because I put myself first. Again, people will always mirror how you treat yourself. So if you do this for any reason, also it's to start making people mirror that in you. And if you're noticing that people aren't putting you first, ask yourself, where are you not putting yourself first? Okay. And again, caveat, I am not perfect in this. I never want to come across as like, I am perfect. I always put myself first. Like, we're human. Things happen. Like recently, something I've been doing is that when I wake up, I check my phone, and I know I like need to get out of that habit because that's putting everyone else first before me and my morning routine. So that's something I need to nip in the butt immediately. On an average, I'm putting myself first always, and I think that has made the biggest change in my life, in my health, and my mental well-being, in my ability to run businesses, be there for my clients, and just be the best version of me possible. I'm done. I just looked down, it was 42. Love that. Okay. I love you guys so much. I hope that this episode provides you value. If you're still here and you love this episode and you know anyone who's struggling in this area, please share it with them. And if you haven't yet, I would be so grateful for a review. Those reviews are my love language. They keep me going. They keep me wanting to record these episodes, and I would be so grateful to see your honest review on the podcast. Okay, my angels, if you want to check this out on the video version, the link will be below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.